All right, good evening, everyone. I'm showing 6:30. I know we're gonna have a couple people join us as we get going here, but thank you and welcome to the Elementary Magnet School online interest meeting. Mike Evans, I'm the Executive Director of the Richardson Learning Community and the Magnet School. Obviously, we'd much rather do this in person, but this is the world we live in right now, so we're going to do this virtually tonight. I'd like to introduce, we have our three principals from our three elementary magnet schools. We have Miss Kristen Strickland, kind of wave if you can see our pictures, Mr. Michael Thomas, and Miss Lauren Bolak. And so we're gonna basically go through and present tonight, and you'll get to get a little bit of each one of those schools. But I'm gonna kind of talk about what magnet schools are, and districts across the nation use magnet schools as options for their families, options that are as varied and unique as many communities in which they are located. In our ISD learning community, magnet schools have two characteristics. They enroll students from across the districts via an application process, and they also offer the unique programs to attract families to their schools. We do offer a seamless K through 12 magnet experience. We have junior highs and high school. And tonight's focus agendas will be where it all begins at the elementary levels. So we have Arapaho Classic, we have Hamilton Park, we have MST Magnet. And after all that they present, we're going to kind of talk a little bit more about the application process. Unfortunately, because of this system, it's hard to field a lot of questions, and we'll kind of talk about a little bit at the end of how, if you have questions, who to contact and how to let us know your questions. But I'd like to get started off. I'd like to introduce Miss Kristen Strickland, and you can kind of tell us about Arapaho Classic.
Okay, good evening. My name is Kristen Strickland, and I am the proud principal of Arapaho Classical Magnet. I first would like to thank you for your interest in our magnet programs and our schools. We realize that the elementary years are truly the foundation of education, and that this is really a 7-year investment for your child and your family. So this is my 6th year as principal at ACM, my 18th year in RISD. At ACM, we serve about 580 students from all across the district in grades kinder through 6th. I have 26 classrooms, 4 sections of kindergarten through 4th grade, and 3 sections of 5th and 6th. I have about 50 total staff members. I adore my staff. They are fantastic. They truly, believe in and invest in student growth and success, as well as their social emotional health and development through the elementary years. We are a uniform school. Uniforms are required. Students are required to be uniform ready every day. Uniforms create unity. They build a safe learning environment. They increase school pride. We've just really seen a positive impact in students' attitudes towards school. They just carry themselves with more of a purpose and more pride wearing a uniform. It creates that just automatic sense of belonging. And let's face it, it makes for easy mornings for parents and kids. We have an outdoor garden and learning center, which is called ACM Acres. This is something that our generous PTA helped us build and create as a vision many years ago, and it's just flourished over the years. Our PTA pays for or funds a garden facilitator who works with the teachers to provide hands-on experiences and lessons aligning with their curriculum in the garden. So they're doing science experiments, they're planting and harvesting lots of different vegetables and herbs, they're observing, learning about ecosystems. The Outdoor Learning Center really serves as a place for thinking, for processing. There's a lot of writing that happens out there, and just connecting with nature, just giving kind of kids a break and just being outdoors. We also have a lot of family events that our school and PTA sponsors in the garden. Those typically consist of even weekend events. They consist of like coming and hearing a story, doing some kind of activity or experiment. And then there's often like a make and take that the kids can take home for the families to do together. Our families are very involved in the garden. They sign up for breaks and summer, and they are the ones that do the maintenance and take care of that, and they get to keep the harvest if there's any. Our students really love our garden. The garden creates pride for the kids. It's an accomplishment. They're so proud of what they've worked and what they've grown out there. And surprisingly, they're more willing to try the vegetables that they've worked really hard to grow. So there's a lot of learning and a lot of laughter that happened in ACM Acres, and just really grateful for our PTA for continuing to support that for us. Speaking of PTA, we have a top-notch PTA. Really, our entire community is like a family. Whether you live in the neighborhood or you live across town, everybody here just wants to be here and is supportive. Our PTA helps facilitate a lot of programs for our campus. They just really go above and beyond to ensure that our students and staff have everything they need, and that any needs that our families have are taken care of. Okay, Michael, I think we're ready for the next one. Okay, so kind of what sets ACM apart. The first thing is art integration, and art integration is truly that. It is all classrooms include this art integration approach to learning, in which the students construct and demonstrate understandings of art forms, which could be music, dance, theater, technology, architecture, or visual arts. So the students are engaged in a creative process which connects an artist and them learning about the lifestyle and the history of the artist, their art form, and it's tied into their core curriculum. So the kids get to express creatively while meeting a learning objective. So it's sometimes an additional or takes the place of an assessment because we're able to demonstrate mastery through a different way. So some just really easy examples would be like right now, our 5th grade, they are studying Misty Copeland, and she was a ballet dancer. And they are learning about her motions and her history, and then they're acting out and doing some things with vocabulary words for their upcoming unit. Another one, I think most people are probably familiar with Kandinsky, who was a famous artist, and one of our grade levels created their own visual arts by, they had to include a certain number of angles and 2D shapes to show mastery of that skill. So. We also have a partnership with the DMA. So all of our grade levels get to go to the DMA each year, obviously not this year. So because of COVID, we haven't gotten to do some of these things, but we will get that back. I believe in that. So every year that they go to the DMA, they have a different focus or a different focal point. So they're not just seeing the same exhibits and the same things every year. So it ties into with their curriculum as well. Last year, we added the Meadows Museum at SMU and the Geometric and Maddie Art Museum for our kids to get to go to. And our goal, as we're starting to form partnerships with more local museums, would be if they've gone through 7 years at ACM, they've gone to 7 different art museums throughout the Metroplex. So that's a great opportunity and experience to not only see art, but to be inspired, to form an interest, and to learn about and question kind of history and culture. The new class that I am excited that we are bringing to ACM next year, we are partnering classical theater and media arts to form one class. So our kids will be exposed obviously to just classical theater arts performances, and kind of technical setup, as well as mixed with like modern communication. So they'll get hands-on experience with acting, imitating the tech side of theater, photography, graphic design, animation, audio, and video production. And that will be offered to all of our kids K through 6. We also have in news broadcasting, we have ACM Today, which are right now it's our 6th graders that run ACM Today, and that is just really to inform and entertain and provide school news. We also have robotics for our older grades, and right now they're just doing it for 1 quarter of the year, where they're getting to design and do some entry-level programming, but we are hopeful when we are able to kind of partner kids back together next year, we can kind of expand that a little bit different. Okay. Let's see. So our guidelines for success are pride, and those are purpose, respect, integrity, determination, and excellence. So our kids know those words, they know the meanings of those words, they know what those words look like. It's just really woven into the culture of ACM. They know, our kids know what the expectations are here, and we do have high expectations for our kids. But we really focus on reinforcing the positive behaviors, and so they're recognized ongoingly for demonstrating the characteristics of pride. So going with pride is our house system. We have 4 houses, but 1 family. So students are sorted into one of 4 houses. The first started it 2 years ago. So whatever house you're sorted into is your house for your tenure at ACM. The houses are represented by a color. They are represented by one of the pride guidelines or expectations. And then the 4 names are named after falcons. So for example, I belong to the Aplamato house, which is the pink house of purpose. It's been really amazing to watch our kids kind of, vertically align and connect. It creates smaller communities within our building, within a large school, promotes camaraderie for each other, that mentorship, allows students to connect and celebrate and cheer for each other. When we have new students that come into ACM and they get to join a house, they immediately have friends in that class because they're in the same house and they automatically have something in common. So it's really been a great thing for our campus. When we can go back to how things used to be, the kids got to sit together when we would have pride rallies together in their houses. So all the colors would be sorted. On Fridays, they got the opportunity to eat with their houses. And then we have a school-wide point system, which recognizes the 4 different houses. And each 9 weeks, the winner of the point system, or who has demonstrated the most pride, they get a house color day. And so anytime the kids don't have to wear their uniforms to school is a huge day at ACM. So SEL, all campuses do SEL in some form or fashion now. It's been a part of ACM's heart for many, many years. It's part of our kind of mission and goals to develop the whole child. So we initially rolled this out years ago with like the focus of growth mindset. So we start every year with really those class meetings and forming that growth mindset, agreeing upon rules. They have regular class meetings and weekly SEL, social emotional learning time, where they are discussing conflict. They are making, responsible decisions as a class. They're goal setting. It's really working on communication and just, how to do conflict resolution with each other. We're learning about empathy, self-awareness. It's the foundations of building positive relationships with each other. And it's been very successful. Each of our little classes is like one little family, and they really truly support each other. Lastly, if, some of our magnet programs obviously give certain grade levels or older grade levels maybe more of an advantage to do things for, say, like robotics. So we do have a lot of clubs as well for kids to partake in. We have running club and art club. We have garden club. We have 2 performing choirs. One is a classical chorale where they are just standing and singing. One is more of an instrumental rhythm performance-based choir. They're really awesome. Of course, things have been different this year, but like I said, we'll get all that back. So ACM is just about heart, about relationships, and it's just a fantastic place to be. So I know that was kind of fast and just kind of all dumped on you, and you're more than welcome to email me at any time, and I will get back to you, or we can talk at a different time. So thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Strickland. I think up next we have Mr. Thomas for Hamilton Park.
Hello, everyone. My name is Michael Thomas. I am the principal of Hamilton Park Pacesetter Magnet, probably one of the longer names in the district that you will find. But every word is so important. Hamilton Park, the neighborhood where we sit in, being the Pacesetters, forefront, moving forward, thinking outside the box, trying new things is very, very important to us. This is my 14th year in the district, my 5th year as the principal there. We have 5 sections of every grade level from pre-K all the way through 6th grade. So quite a large campus of students and staff, and we hold about 108 staff members. So it is a lot of evaluations I have to do every single year. But you know what? We love it. We love coming every single day. We love that our neighborhood feeds into our campus, as well as students from all across the district. And it's been that way since 1975 at Hamilton Park. Mr. Friedman? So I'm really the long-winded one, and I could be on here for the next 8 hours talking about Hamilton Park because I just love this campus so much. But I have really narrowed it down to just a few slides. And so one of the things that that sets us apart is that we are the fine arts magnet. So we were started in the fine arts back in 1975. And one of the big things that we put a lot of our energy into is to all of the things that are created in the arts. So your performing arts, your visual arts, all of those things are very important to us. So we do have multiple music teachers, and we have a theater arts teacher, and our programs are of legend. We are very fortunate to have our own auditorium, which is about junior high, high school grade auditorium. And all of our programs are live streamed, which is run by our students. So we know that every student is not going to want to be forefront on that stage in the bright lights, but we have tons of students who are working behind the scenes and who are creating some of the visual aspects of it, and making sure that every part of that performance is amazing. And so we really enjoy being able to go back and look and watch and see how the beginning process of doing a production like the Magic School Bus that we did a few years ago, from start to finish, and all of the things that they do to critique each other and how they can fix it and become better. So we're really proud of that, but we're also a STEM school. We know that every student is not a fine arts student, and we know that STEM is very, very important. And we have some kids who just really, I mean, if you can give them a little bit more robotics and more coding and all of those things, they really soar. So that makes us more of a STEAM campus. So we still have the science, the technology, the engineering, but we also have the arts in there with the math, which makes us very, very special. And so our students in kinder, first, and second have a STEM course that they take every single week, where they're learning basic keyboarding skills, which I think is something that's missing from education, as well as coding and robotics and things of that nature. So really finding engaging ways for students to interact with STEM throughout their learning experience. We're also an old undertold story and have a historical marker outside of our campus. So the story of Hamilton Park is such an amazing story. And if I went into it right now, guys, we would be here all night. Such an amazing story. I do ask you to take a look at our website, because we do have that story that's played out for you, so that you can learn more about how Hamilton Park came to be, starting as a community in 1953 onto where it is now. Very, very community centered and based, and a lot of that is due to the history of Hamilton Park. We have many staff members who live in our community. We have, I'll even say my assistant principal, who I believe is on this call as well, was an elementary student at our campus. And so being able to come back in this role, you can imagine the pride that he has for our campus and what that does for our students. To be able to see someone from their neighborhood, somebody who looks like them, to be able to be an assistant principal, be in leadership, and continue to build upon the great legacy of Hamilton Park is awesome. Mr. Freeman? So many things that we have at our campus that kind of distinguish us a little bit. We do limit our class sizes to 20 per class, one by having 5 sections of each grade that kind of gives us a little bit more flexibility in that. So our class sizes are smaller, and that's 20 kids per class, even starting down in pre-K kinder all the way through 6th grade. We also teach Spanish. So all of our students from pre-K through 6th grade. So we want our students, when they finish 6th grade, to have all the way down to writing in Spanish, because we want them to be able to test out when they get to junior high, get those elective credits, and then find something else that interests them and continue in that. We find that that has been a very big benefit for us, and we work very closely with the junior highs and making sure that we're achieving all of those basic needs so that they're ready to do so. As I mentioned earlier, we do have a very robust theater arts program that starts with our 3rd graders. And so they're learning all about stage directions and all things Hollywood, as you can imagine. And they get to be on an actual stage and move and manipulate all of those pieces, which is phenomenal for them. We're also very fortunate to have a teacher's assistant and a teacher's aide provided to every grade level. So along with the 5 classroom teachers, they'll have a certified teacher who is a teacher's assistant who can assist with literally everything, as well as another paraprofessional, which is a teacher's aide who can do the same. And so when it comes to small group instruction and pulling and stretching kids, because we want kids, so we want to get them when they enter at their own level, right? So we know that every student's not going to come in 3 grade levels above, but for that kid that is, we want to make sure we have someone who can say, hey, let's try something different. Let's try a project-based approach. And so we can do that when we have more staff that can be hands-on and support students, as well as students who come in who maybe struggle in certain areas. We still can address that and give them the same amount of time. One of my favorite things about Hamilton Park is the diversity in the staff and the student population. So when our students can see themselves in staff members, when they can see themselves in their teachers, when they can see themselves in support staff and administrators, I think it just really goes to really teaching the whole child. It's more than just, here's some curriculum, let's see how you do on it, but let's talk about what the world looks like, and let's talk about what we can do to influence it, as well as our teachers. We have very tenured teachers. We have teachers who, I have one teacher who's been there for over 40 years, and some teachers who are newer. And so having that variance in our staff makes a big difference. Some of our teachers have taught grandchildren and moms and dads and all of these uncles and everyone. So when it comes to, having those conversations, they're like, you know what, I remember how your mom was blah, blah, and it just changes everything. And so we think that's really special that we have that kind of togetherness on our campus. And that really just helps propel us to the next level. So some of this is, again, pre-COVID, and I think we have to make sure we address that. Some things are very different now than they were before, but a lot of the things that we would do, we did a lot of the huddles. I think Ms. Strickland really put it well. I mean, a lot of the things that they're doing, we've done as well. And I don't think I can literally say it as well as she did. So, bless you. But we are very proud Pacesetters. And so we make sure that we celebrate kids as often as possible. One of the ways that we celebrate our kids is through our positive office referrals. Oftentimes, students they see office referrals as negatives. And there's a lot of times more negatives than we hear positives. But we really want to find those students who are making that positive change, that opposite end of the spectrum, making those great choices. And then we want to celebrate them. And so we get an opportunity to call them down to the office, to take a picture with them, to send a picture home, and then also to post it for all of our students to see. We want kids to understand that positives are going to get that same great reaction. And that's what we want them looking for. We want them feeding off of the positive. And it always doesn't have to be another treat or trinket or something like that, but just that recognition makes a huge difference. We are a restorative practice campus. We believe in restoring relationships. So when students make mistakes, as they will, when staff make mistakes, which they will, we find ways to restore relationships instead of just being very punitive. Now, there is a time for consequences, but then also we want to repair that relationship, because that student is coming back to that campus. They're coming back to those situations. And if we can't find that positive where we could say, okay, this is how this made me feel, and this is how I'm going to do better, and then it's accepted, then our kids can't move forward. And so this is a very big part of what we do every single day. We have restorative circles when we need to, and we just make sure this is another piece of that SEL, the social emotional learning that we have on our campus. We also are a PBIS campus, so that's positive behavior intervention supports. And we also utilize the house system. And our 4 houses come from, kind of follow from the Ron Clark house system. And so we have a huge wheel, and we spin the wheel to find houses for students. And like Ms. Strickland said, it really does build community in our campus. Kids feel like they are a part of something. All of our teachers are in a house as well too. And so they have to uphold that high standard of what a house is and what the house leaders look like. We have students who are house leaders as well, which is really, really special if they get chosen to be a house leader by their peers. I will say that my house, which is the house of altruismo, it's the house of givers. This year, we have given up the lead, and we are in 4th place, which is okay, because it's not about just winning. Last year, we did win the entire thing, and I will make sure I mention that too. We were the winners, and we were very proud of that. But this year, we are just really excited about all of the positive things that our house is doing. Our house did a giving challenge, and so we put a challenge out for the entire school, and then the group that brings in the most amount of money or the most amount of cans, whatever challenge we come up with, it's all donated to a good cause. And so our kids are learning about things that are happening outside the world and not just what's happening in the classroom. We are very big about life, and what you'll see it all over our campus is preparing all students for life through life. And that life is our leadership, our innovation, our fine arts, and our excellence. And our students understand that each one of those all together is what's going to help us grow as citizens, not just as students, but as citizens. Understanding that they are a bigger part of a bigger world is very big for us. So we definitely want you to, take a look at our website. We're going to upload a day in the life of our students, so you can see what our campus is like, because tours are a little bit limited right now. But we want you to understand that there's just so many great things going on at all 3 magnet schools. Every one of them is special and unique in its own way. And we just look forward to seeing more great families joining our amazing family as well.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Thomas. And now I'll introduce Ms. Dr. Bolak, and she's going to talk about MST Magnet School.
Hello, I get to follow those 2 fabulous leaders. So here we go. I am the proud principal of MST Go White Tigers. We have been in existence since 1995. This is my first year at MST and my 13th year in the district. I've only been in RISD, and it is definitely the best district to be, but then you can actually be at MST, which is the place to be in RISD. What our mission at MST is to utilize inquiry and the process of inquiry to develop intrinsically motivated students, and really getting down to their passions and their interests in providing instruction that meets them at their level and that meets their interest level and their learning needs, so that they can be the problem solvers in a very dynamic community. As a technology and a STEM campus, we really focus on what we call the 4 C's of STEM. How can we consistently and continuously provide opportunities for our students to use creativity, collaboration, critical thinking, and communication throughout the day, so that they can apply the learning and extend it to new learning opportunities at our campus. This year, or at the beginning of the year, we worked to build collective beliefs based on our new mission and our new vision as a recently certified, nationally STEM certified campus. And so we came together as a campus community to develop what are our collective beliefs based on our students and our learners. What do we believe consistently in regards to our learners? And at MST, we believe that our students deserve a curriculum that is engaging and high quality instruction that prepares them for their future. We believe that each and every student who walks through our door can learn and achieve at very high levels in academics, in socialization, and behavior as well. We really build that whole child. How can we address the whole child at our school? We believe that all students need to know that they are loved. We want our kids to be like knocking down the doors to come in on Mondays. We celebrate Mondays at our campus. We do look forward to Fridays, but we celebrate Mondays because our kids came back to us, and that's really exciting for us at MST. We open the door for all students' futures by integrating STEM experiences into content areas. One of the great things about STEM is that through the research and the professional development that we've had at our campus and through the STEM process, we realized that our students in school today in elementary schools are going to be exposed and have opportunities to have jobs that we cannot even imagine today. There's so many careers that we would have never even thought of. And so through this process of inquiry and collaboration and really exploration, we're exposing our students to different interests that they would have never thought that they'd be capable of. And that's really our biggest passion at MST. And we value strong sense of community, respect, and camaraderie at our campus. We really do. It's very interesting. When I came to the campus, everybody just talked about, like, you walk in and you feel it. And we really are a family. Our staff is a huge family. We support each other, but our students as well. And it's really, really exciting to be a part of this big family at MST. Okay. Thank you. This is just a brief slide to kind of talk about the demographics at MST, which are probably very similar to the other magnet campuses. But there's this beautiful diversity at our campus. There's over 28 languages that are spoken. One of our favorite events of the school year is our multicultural night, where our students do a fabulous job of really reaching out and celebrating the culture and really what identifies them and defines them as students and makes them unique and a unique part of our campus. And we are a Title I campus. About 47% of our students are economically disadvantaged. This year currently we have approximately 577 students, 32 teachers, but 75 total staff members on the campus. But it is a beautifully diverse campus, and that makes it, again, that place to be where you would it's exciting to learn from the different cultures of our students. And then it's always nice to just be able to recognize the celebrations at the campus. Having a diverse population and having a Title I campus and students from the economically disadvantaged families does not limit us. It does not set us back. Through the exploration, the inquiry, and the rigorous expectations that we have for our students consistently excel. We've earned distinctions on our STAR test consistently from year to year. We are rated as an A campus and rated outperforming similar schools with demographics and populations that are similar to ours. In addition, we consistently have opportunities to serve in the spotlight through visits from very unique populations. We had the Chinese National Educational Delegation who visited in 2013, and then the National Texas Consortium of Schools visited twice to learn from the way that we're doing school at MST. And then our most recent visit was from the Shanghai delegation in 2019. So we look forward to who's going to come and visit next. Hopefully it's not through Zoom. And so what sets us apart at MST? Again, we are a technology magnet. That's really our biggest focus, is becoming a technology magnet, but also we focus on STEM. In regards to technology, we have one-to-one devices, and all campuses in the district do have one-to-one devices. But as a technology magnet, we really serve as the trailblazers of technology for the district. We have access to additional technology that other campuses may not have. And one of the things that I'm really proud of is we have opportunities to pilot devices, to give feedback to other campuses within the district to determine the functionality. Do we feel that specific technology is beneficial to our students? And that really serves that leadership role. It's really exciting that our students have a voice in the technology decisions and the future technology choices that our district decides. And one of the recent technology decisions we had 2 weeks ago, right before we had this lovely snowstorm, all of our 3rd through 6th grade students got new iPad devices. And we're really trying to prepare them for the upcoming STAR tests. Since we're all going online, how can we prepare our students to be more successful with that? And so with these devices, it probably doesn't show very well on my Zoom, but students have access to a keyboard and a trackpad, and then all of our students will have a digital crayon and a stylus. And so this is something that we're trying out. We're trying to see if this functionality really serves as more of a portable, mobile device for our students to be able to take their iPad into the garden and do an exploration and write in their digital science notebook out in the garden and interact that way. Take a picture and then label it and do a diagram and really notate in the moment. It really adds more functionality to the learning experience for our students. So that's one of the newest technology integrations that we have at MST. Some additional tools that we do have Osmos, and we do have robotics at MST. And curriculum flipping is another tool that we utilize. It looks a little bit different this year in the land of COVID, but typically what we do at our campus is have a balance of, there's particular days where our teachers are doing traditional instruction in their classroom and engaging in a traditional lesson, and then the students go home and they apply that learning through their homework assignments. But oftentimes we really want to build that community with our parents and bring them into the classroom. And in those experiences, we flip the curriculum, which means the teachers will do a pre-recorded lesson that goes home with the students, and that's what they do at home. And then they come back to school with that background learning. And that really allows us to extend those learning experiences for our students in the classroom, because they've already got the knowledge. Now, what can we do with it in the classroom? And that's something that we really are proud of here at MST as well. And then our innovative teachers. One of the things that I've learned very quickly being the principal at MST is that when you come to MST, you don't want to leave. We have so many tenured teachers, and it's really exciting, similar to Mr. Thomas, sharing that teachers are saying, talking about like they've had every single kid in the family and then they get to have the kids kid, they have the student in kindergarten, and then that student's own children come to the school. And to be a part of an experience like that is just really, really exciting. And to be able to see so many siblings come to our campus and know and remember those teachers from that time is really exciting. But that investment, that time that those teachers invest in our school, not only are they staying at MST, but they are continually investing in themselves so that they can be the best teacher for our students. We have teachers at our campus who consistently present in Region 10. They present at national conferences. We now learned today that we have another finalist for the Fujitsu Trailblazer Award. And so that will be up to 6 teachers at our campus who've been nominated as finalists for the Fujitsu Trailblazer Award. And so that's really part of what we do at MST, as well as we give back. Our teachers present at our district Grow conference, but it's really about, we don't stop the learning experiences at MST. How can we continue to grow ourselves? How can we continue to stay current and relevant so that our students have the best of the best? And then, as I stated, we are a STEM campus. We kind of fall between, when it talks about STEM, we're part of the Berkner feeder pattern. And then when it talks about just in general, MST, we land in the magnet program, we land in the Richardson feeder pattern. So we get the best of both worlds. So we are part of the STEM for All initiative from Texas Instruments. All of our teachers at our campus received that extensive STEM training. And then part of that, prior to even being a part of the STEM for All experience, our teachers had kind of already gotten the ball rolling on that. But we have school-wide design challenge days 2 times a year, and it's a really exciting experience for our students. Generally, they are a surprise. So the students don't know that it's going to be a design day. They show up at school and the teachers have their design day shirts on and the kids go wild. And so it's just this really amazing day of just having problem-based learning experiences where our students can have an authentic, relevant problem and work through the process of inquiry, creativity, collaboration, and critical thinking, and work together as a team to develop solutions to those problems and design amazing products. In addition, we have what we call our STEM portal at our campus. So really, STEM doesn't happen in a place. It's really embedded into everything we do. But we provide these opportunities to have more extensive STEM experiences. Our students have an opportunity to, it's almost like an additional elective for them. They get to go to a portal where they have opportunities for hands-on, like makerspace. We have a set of tools and you have to build something with it. And they get to design different structures based on directives. They get to code, they get to problem solve through that. They might have a specific scenario and they have, these are my tools and I need to come up with a solution to that. And then one of the recent celebrations we have at MST is our National STEM certification. Last year, the campus went through a very extensive process of becoming a nationally certified STEM campus. In addition to that, we had 12 teachers who went through that certification process. And it's really very similar to the equivalent of getting like a master's certification. And they really did invest the time and energy into really becoming masters of STEM instruction so that they can provide those authentic opportunities for our students. And then I kind of mentioned a little bit about it. Part of being a STEM campus is that science piece and how can we provide those authentic science opportunities for our students. And we've been building and growing our garden over several years. And it's one of the highlights of my day to be able to go out and see on harvest days, the students, as they're putting their crops in their bags and they're taking it home. We have students who take pictures of them, eating the salad that they made from what we harvested in the garden. And so it's really exciting to be able to, for our students to be able to see the creation. Like I planted this little seed and this is what it's turned into, and to be a part of that process and to be able to bring it home into their home as well. So there is a lot of exciting things at MST. Like I said, it is the place to be. We create leaders, we create empathetic, loving, and passionate learners at MST who are going to be scholars and our future leaders of tomorrow. So if you have any additional questions, please don't hesitate to contact me. I'd be happy to talk to you about it.
Thank you, Dr. Bolek. All right, next, Mr. Freeman will do his presentation. It talks a little bit more about the application process and the timelines.
This is Michael Freeman, Coordinating Director for Special Projects. Maru Rocha and I coordinate the placement of elementary magnet students. In this slideshow, we'll cover the online application with dates to remember and placement priorities. This information is also included on the elementary checklist and the guidelines for the elementary magnet schools at rsd.org. The elementary magnet application is an online application which you can access via the QR code or the URL provided on the elementary checklist. Once you have gone to the link, start with any elementary aged student who is already attending an RSD school. You will use your student's 6-digit ID number and date of birth to identify your student's record. You can find this ID number on the report card or locate the numbers included in the student's Gmail account they have with the school. Just use the numbers and not the letters from their email account. The online application is available now and all apps are due March 31st. Applications received after March 31st will be considered for any placements made after April 15th. If you have a student or you are a family who is new to the RISD, you will answer no to the question about whether or not your student is currently attending an RISD school. In this situation, you will enter residence and contact information. You must also attach a proof of residence so that we can verify whether or not you live in the RISD. You will then fill in the student info such as name, date of birth, age, and grade level for the upcoming school year. You must also attach a birth certificate so that we can verify your student's legal name, date of birth, and age. You must complete one application for each student. Students must reside in the RISD at the time of application, placement, enrollment, and attendance of our magnet schools. Employees of the RISD follow a different process and submit an intra-district or inter-district non-resident transfer request. Once you have identified your student, you will select your preference among your options. All applicants have 3 options from which to choose: Arapaho Classical Magnet, Hamilton Park Pacesetter Magnet, and the Math Science Technology Magnet. While many parents prefer a school close in proximity to where they live, magnet school programs offer unique programs as incentives for families and students to consider schools beyond their normal field of vision. As you complete the application process, your understanding of these programs and your preference for each focus in relationship to your child's interest will help you navigate the application process. Every magnet starts with the same outstanding curriculum offered at our neighborhood schools, but the magnets will focus on some unique, some overlapping programs. Once you have identified for each magnet option, you may select first, second, third, or not a choice. This means you might have only one preference for a magnet school, or you might also have a first, second, and third choice, but you are allowed to select more than one school as a first choice. In selecting these preferences, you are placing your child's application in each school's pool of applicants by level of priority. When assignments are made, the applications with first choice are going to be placed before any applications that are second choice for the same school. The main thing to consider is, are you willing to accept the placement for any school you enter? If you have 2 to 3 schools as a first choice, you are increasing your options of getting an assignment, but you must be willing to take the placement for the school to which you are assigned. You are not getting selected and then given the opportunity to choose among your choices. You're telling us ahead of time what your range of options are. If your student has a brother or sister already attending an elementary magnet school, you must go through the enrollment process directly at the school, which usually includes you submitting a paper sibling application to identify the incoming sibling for the magnet school so that they can find your student as you enroll online in March. Failure to identify your magnet student prior to the March 31st deadline will mean the loss of any priority the school can provide for you in the placement process. For each assignments to the elementary magnet schools are made via random selection or lottery. Space availability at each magnet by grade level and your preference for the school are the factors used for placements. We also prioritize keeping families together, which is a double-sided advantage and disadvantage. The advantage is if you have more than one student applying, your family is going to be considered at each grade level per child you have applying. The disadvantage can be that space has to be available for your whole family, when considering placement of one of your students. Kindergarten always has the most space available each year. We assign neighborhood and incoming siblings, then after March 31st, we assign volunteers, who are the students coming to the school through the application process. Then once a student is enrolled at a magnet school, they do not have to go through the application process each year. As long as they live in the district, they enroll online ahead of the application process. Most of our families want to stay at their magnet school, so we only have a few spaces in the grade levels above kinder. For example, we might have 100 applicants vying for only 1 or 2 spaces open at a school and grade level. We notify via email by April 15th only those who are assigned. You will have 2 to 3 weeks to accept your placement. Failure to accept your assignment or to respond to emails or phone calls will result in that option being removed from your application. In some cases, your application may be removed altogether from the system if you do not respond to the school or district's efforts to reach you. We do continue to make assignments as space comes available until the end of the current school year. We provide transportation to each of the magnet schools as long as the student lives more than 2 miles from the school. Once assigned to a magnet school, you cannot transfer between magnet schools. You can only return to your neighborhood school. So let's recap. March 31st, applications are due. April 15th, notifications go by email to those who are assigned. Then you have 2 to 3 weeks in which you must accept your placement.
Thank you, Mr. Freeman, for presenting that information. Well, hopefully you've got a lot of information from tonight's meeting. We know you may have some questions. You can either contact the principal themselves. Dr. Strickland is at, Ms. Strickland is at ACM. Mr. Thomas is at Hamilton Park, and you have Dr. Polak, who's at MST. You see their information up on there. If you have questions, we will post this on the website. If you go to the RISD webpage and you get on departments and magnet schools and elementary magnet schools, we'll have this as well as this Zoom call. We recorded this and we will post that. And then if you see the QR codes up on the screen right now, the one on the left is if you have questions, which will also be posted on the, the website tomorrow, and then the application process is on the right. So we want to thank all our principals. Thank you, principals, for sharing your wonderful schools. Mr. Freeman, thank you for putting the presentation together. Ms. Flores, thank you for doing the interpretations. And Brian Pruitt, thank you for keeping us all together. So we appreciate you joining us tonight. Like I said, we know that you may have a lot of questions, and unfortunately this is kind of our venue, and we would prefer to do this in person where you can come up and talk to us afterwards. Unfortunately, this is kind of our world right now. But we want to thank you guys for joining us tonight, and I wish you all a wonderful evening. Thank you so much.